Good afternoon, Washington, D.C. I am here representing the great Garden State of New Jersey. And we're going to bring it Jersey strong to the Trump fascist regime today. 20 years ago this month, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. I was 33 years old and had just won my campaign to serve on the City Council of the city of Asbury Park, New Jersey. For those of you who are Bruce Springsteen fans, yes, it's that Asbury Park, New Jersey. And a shout out to the boss for using his platform to stand up against Trump and the fascist regime. On that day, I stood there with my family. I raised my right hand. I placed my left hand on a copy of the Constitution, and I affirmed the following. I, James William Keady, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and in this state, county, and city under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of councilman according to the best of my abilities, so help me God. And I remember the weight of that moment. I was a duly elected representative of the people of our city, affirming to my community, my county, my state, and the nation that I would perform my duties in office in alignment with the highest law of our land, the United States Constitution. Yes. And that it is the Constitution and the rule of law that has primacy in our representative republic. While I no longer hold office, that oath was etched into my heart, and it animates me to this day to stand up for the ideals of our nation and the rule of law established by the Constitution. Yes, and for me, and I imagine so many of you, the heart of our Constitution, what pumps the very lifeblood into our representative republic, is the First Amendment. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, just the other day, Donald Trump had words for anyone who decided to march today. He said to the nation, these are people who hate our country. If any protesters want to come out, they will be met with a very big force. And I say back to Donald Trump in solidarity with all of you, we love this nation, Donald. Even with all of its imperfect history, even with the injustices that continue to exist, even with the ongoing work that all of us are called to do to bring about a more perfect union, we do hate things. We hate injustice. We hate authoritarianism. We hate fascism. But make no mistake about it, Donald Trump, we love the United States of America. Why? Because we believe in the ideals that were laid out in that founding document. And we will never cower to you, Donald Trump, or any of your fascist followers. We will never relinquish our fundamental rights to free speech, to assemble peacefully, and petition our government for redress. The United States Constitution, the power that it invests in the office of president, the duty that it calls forth from our military, the wisdom it demands from our judiciary, and the responsibility it gives to our legislature. These all belong to the people. They absolutely do not belong to one man, and certainly not a con man bully named Donald Trump. The founders knew that if one man or woman ever attempted to assert themselves above the Constitution, above the people, above the rule of law, that it would create a moment where each and every citizen would be called upon to use their voice, to put their body on the line, to demand that such a person either step down voluntarily, be removed from office by the Congress, or be non-violently forced from office by the sheer will and determination of millions of Americans taking to the streets until that was realized. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in such a moment. We have a man in Donald Trump who is an authoritarian and who is leading our nation on a path to fascism, from which we may not be able to return if we allow it to continue to progress. This is why we have set forth a call to conscience for every citizen in these United States. This is why we have set forth a call to action for every American who believes in representative democracy. This is why we are here today in our nation's capital, not conceding these streets in the very heart of our republic. This is why we are shouting in solidarity from the rooftops here with marches and demonstrations and rallies in every town and city and hamlet across our great nation today. We are saying, each and every one of us, that in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. We demand the Trump fascist regime must go now. Now let me be very clear. Donald Trump is not going to go quietly into the night. He is just now starting to get a taste for his true fascist consolidation of power. He has already begun to ignore the rule of law. He has already begun to violate the right to due process. He is already using every mechanism that he can to threaten and intimidate elected officials, judges, the press, students, professors, veterans, and any citizen who dares to challenge his fascist tendencies. And today, he has the unbridled audacity to try to use the military of the United States of America to send a message that the military belongs to him and not to the office of the President of the United States and to the Constitution of our republic. This is why now, here, is the time that we rise up and act to stop the ongoing consolidation of Trump MAGA power. For the lives of people here and around the world, we must refuse unlawful and inhumane orders. We must fill the streets and town squares across the country in ever-rising numbers, not stopping until we become a movement of millions, not relenting until the regime is no longer able to implement its fascist program. This will not be easy. We will need to muster courage and to face our fears, to find our deepest power, and to never cower in the face of the bully who currently sits in the Oval Office. We, each of us, must be willing to non-violently resist, to stand up and speak out, and to possibly absorb the violent wrath of Donald Trump and his fascist minions. We need to be prepared in the spirit of Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and all those who marched with them in solidarity, to receive their violence, but not to return it. This is the level of commitment. This is the level of courage that each of us must bring to bear if we are going to realize the mantra that we are calling forth in this nonviolent, grassroots, people-powered movement that we all must adopt and live by.
One voice!
I say it once again, and I ask that you join with me, that in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. We demand the Trump regime must go now. Let's get it done, my fellow Americans.